All right. Utility meeting board starting at 8:32. We've got Pat and Earl and myself, Eric, present. And he was going to give us a presentation in regards to Max is not here today. And then we have Mike Adams with IMPA. What's your presentation on, sir?
It's on dedicated services.
Got it.
So it's basically what we've done for the last period of time. Thanks, Earl.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Now I don't have to connect.
These are in color. Color. I like this.
So I'm gonna use the one on my computer.
Okay.
And we'll just talk through that. Are we ready to?
Yeah, you're
start
rock and roll. Go.
Okay.
Let's roll.
Oh, that's a lot of power outages around here. I guess that looks like normal.
Bear with me just a moment. Oh, fine. Trying something new today. I'm trying to get to the point to where I don't have a whole lot of paper to hand out that I can present it over the.
I loved red line drawings. I hated when computers came online and you have to mark up everything on the computers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give me a red pen and paper any day of the week.
I really appreciate Earl printing those off because obviously I'm not prepared to do this.
It'll kind of smooth out the rough spots.
No, I'm good. I'm good. So on page 2, basically this format isn't too different than what you've
Do you
seen
want to come
before.
up here, Matt, to see what we're looking at?
If you've seen them before. So if you haven't seen them before, this is all fresh and brand new.
So just for clarification, IMPA is a third-party organization that provides maintenance, engineering, and power to the utility of Thorntown.
Yeah.
It's
so-
electric.
So
It's all electric.
Thorntown owns all the electric utility assets. We just have a contract with them to service and maintain them.
Okay.
When we have, from a maintenance and service perspective, we bring things back to our engineering team and we say, hey, fuse has been blowing more frequently than it should. And so they'll go back and they'll look at fuse coordination and say, hey, you need to kind of change things up a little bit here. It doesn't look like that's quite right.
Okay.
We also get into situations where your incoming power, your source power, the town buys it from IMPA, and my group, the ISC, is the service corp of it.
Okay.
But we work with people like Duke Energy, Wabash Valley Power. And so Duke Energy owned the line from your meter point to the substation. So we talked to them about some growth happening in town. We were able to get them to improve that line so that, the town had enough capacity then when this new load comes on. So
Okay.
it's quite a wide reach.
So in lieu of the town hiring separate engineers, separate linemen, maintaining this type of equipment, which isn't very expensive,
Yeah.
we have a monthly contract.
Okay.
And then they have a relationship with Duke because IMPA is in a lot of other communities doing the same function for us. So they have a bit more, they know more people, where to go, who to talk to. Is it a correct statement?
Yes.
Correct me anytime I'm
No,
incorrect.
that's perfectly fine.
We
There are 15 dedicated service communities, and Thorntown is one of those.
Okay.
My group is a shared service among those 15. So that way you don't have to, those communities don't have to have a full line crew on staff to do the work. When we come in, on outage issues, we can come in with one person. If we need more than one, we can bring them in.
Okay.
On day-to-day work, we'll come in with 4 or 5 people on a crew, come in and do the work. And it's much safer, much more efficient when you have the right amount of people to do the work.
Okay.
It is, because oftentimes if you have a last minute, you have to find a contractor, and linemen just aren't at, at Walmart to pick up. The linemen are highly qualified, highly specialized. And then when you start getting into the equipment that they have to use, I don't know what a digger truck costs or a bucket truck, but it's not a couple $100, And then maintenance and certification of all the tooling.
We're replacing a digger truck this year, and it's $425,000.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is the money that the
Yeah.
town doesn't have to pay the full 425, right? We pay a portion of it because we contract with them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Okay.
And so this is his report. All right. Sorry about that one, to get Matt kind of up to date on what the INPUS function was.
So on page 2, basically this is how we allocated service work for this year. So the 4 metrics that fell out and what was asked of us were pole replacements, service requests, outage restoration, and there's some engineering and planning involved. So for 2025, we had 16 poles that were replaced. 29 service requests have been completed. 35 power outages have been restored in town. Now, this is through October of 2025, so we don't have any November numbers in there yet. I think I'm not positive, Earl, but it seems like we had one here just in the last week or
A
so.
service request,
No, outage report.
I'd have to think about it.
Well, if we go to the page 3, it breaks down our 29 service requests. So 8 of those were line maintenance, 3 were light replacement, and then 7 were service repairs. 11 were service connect, disconnect. So we probably did a disconnect, reconnect for somebody doing a roof or maybe removing some tree limbs in the backyard. It's kind of hard telling what, maybe they were upgrading from 100 amp to 200 amp, those kind of things. So on page 4, this is the power outages that you've had over the last year. We're kind of trending the wrong way. Looks like we had 35. Last year we had 31. Before this year were transformer repairs. 2 were line down. 1 was a broken pole. 8 were fuse repairs. And 20 were service repairs. So it looks like I kind of look at trending on outages. That's kind of what helps us with our engineering too. Looks like our line down has trended down, which is good, but our transformer repairs have trended up for whatever reason.
On the transformer side, were these transformers that were repaired, were they old? Were they just at the end of their service life and it was a grouping that got installed and started about the same time with the same amount of demand and load on it? You know what I mean?
I think that what happens is how electric systems grow up, whoever was the new service gets to connect to a transformer, and then when another one shows up, another one tries to get to it, and then over the course of time, you might have 4 or 5 services attached to a transformer. And then somebody might want to add a garage with another meter, or who knows what they want to do. And then all of a sudden somebody's
Load
in
creep.
there looking and going, well, let's just add this. It's just a garage. Let's just add it to this transformer. And then they do that 2 or 3 times. And the next thing you know, you got that thing overloaded.
Mhm.
So you might have 6 or 7
Load creep.
services. Yeah. To that.
Got it.
Just over time, just because whoever was doing it kind of I guess I'd say the easy way. It's I call them sins of the past, but it's just how it works out. Not blaming anybody for it at all.
It just is what it is. So basically those 4 transformers were overloaded.
Maybe they could have went bad. It
Okay.
might have been.
So there isn't a singular trend that you could say that was age of transformer, but one consistent thing
Well,
you say is
we
load
have
creep.
a little bit of data on these about what we did, why we repaired it, and then we dig into that data, and then we could say if there's a trend. So if my guess would be most of the transformers in town are of the age of the poles that are in town, so they're probably in their 40 to 50-year-old. So most of them are pretty aged. You will have distributed throughout the community newer transformers just because something happened and you fixed it, right? You put a new one in. So you'll have some of those sprinkled in there. But I would guess, just my driving around town, most of the transformers in town have some age on them. They're probably 20 plus years old.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, you have what your outage is, and then you have a percentage of total. Is the percentage of total time spent on that particular area?
No,
Okay, so what does that mean?
no, that percentage of total is 4 of 35 is like 11%.
Okay, wait a minute.
Yeah, oh, here, I'll show you. There was 35, they had 35 total occurrences, so
Okay.
basically 4 divided by 35.
Oh, okay, yeah,
So it's all based on outage count,
okay.
and then that's the total outage count for our 5 years or 3 years.
Yeah, so,
So
But-
all outage count, the biggest one, 41%, was service repairs, which was like a connect and disconnect, and next was fuse repairs.
that's kind of what I meant. So is this a norm, like you do a lot of other little towns, this is off the top of your head. Are we kind of running just like all these other little towns are as far as the categories and the percentage that, or are we lacking in one area or the other? You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're wanting the scorecard of our
Yeah,
system in
yeah,
comparison to everyone
yeah.
else.
Yeah,
That's a great question.
I don't really think that there's anything here that's out of line from the other communities. One of the things that I'm seeing here that I like is there's only one broken pole.
Yeah, that was in my yard.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I told them for years it was broke and nobody believed me. I had a transformer on it and I said, man, that thing's broke.
Yeah.
Gary kept saying, it's not broke.
Well, good. So we got it for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I was waiting for it to tumble over.
So the one thing that gets kind of all over the place is that fuse repair, because this tells me that your town is what I would say moderately coordinated. It's probably not polished, but it's coordinated somewhat. Otherwise,
So you're talking about the fuse coordination?
yeah,
So what he's talking about is the domino effect. You want the breaker closest to the load to trip first, then the next upstream fuse to go, then the next
In
upstream fuse.
dominoes.
Correct.
Yeah.
And sometimes what happens in coordination is a fuse way upstream is more sensitive to the fuse downstream, and the fuse upstream goes, and then it's controlling 5 other circuits, and then
Right.
5 other circuits drop
So
out.
are those fuses, are they rated for different loads as depending on where it's at? Or are they all the same fuse?
well, we hope they're all the same type of fuse, because they have a slow curve, fast curve, kind of a medium curve.
Right.
And so we like to have, it's easier to coordinate if you stay within one of those frames. Some communities we go into, they're all over the place. They've got from just sins of the past, whatever's happened in town, they've stuck whatever's on the truck in there. And that hasn't happened here, I don't believe, because, we've only had 8 fuse repairs this year. I do know we had a bit of a problem over by the truck repair facility. There was some coordination problem there, but I think we've resolved that. We had an engineering team come in and kind of take a look at that pocket and solve that problem. But there are communities that we're working with that we're trying to help. They have a much bigger, this one has a much bigger footprint than your town, and they'll have like a fuse at the edge of town that'll blow, and it's just a line that runs out of town. Well, it will cause half the town to go out, and it's not even close to it.
Mhm.
It's just the way that it coordinates through town. It's just insane. So we're going through it, and it is a 4 kV town that
Oh,
we're
wow.
converting to 12 kV. So we said, let's kind of hold off on the fuse coordination. Let's get the 12 kV converted, and as we build the 12 kV, we'll coordinate it properly. Otherwise, we got too many things rolling around. So, but relative to your question, I think this distribution is pretty normal. I would like to see transformer repairs down. That would just mean that maybe we'd have some newer transformers in our town.
Right.
That's a fuse.
Okay, that was my question, so.
And then you have.
So can I ask you one more favor? I know you
Yeah.
come here quite often. Would there be a way to
Okay.
I know
And
that
what
you do it just periodically, but this is good information.
Uh-huh.
Like just
and then.
do a
all these-
printout like just one, just,
So-
can you pull it off your
So
computer
this
that
is
quick?
the
Does it
service of the community. This is
generate
far from
stuff
a
that quick?
could
Like
be-
at a-
it could be like, yeah.
A random
Okay,
meeting,
so
you know, instead of
coordination
waiting 6
is
months.
coordination stuff.
Just for my own
Oh,
benefit.
so maybe
Where's load
share with the
flowing?
town.
Yeah,
Some of-
Where's the load
because this is
flowing
a
and
really
why is
good
that
way to
flowing?
do it. I mean, it's pretty,
And that's, yeah, that's.
Once you know what they
And then that's
mean.
what they
Yeah.
do, is they come out and they figure
Yeah,
out
we
how
could,
to blow
we
it.
could do
Because
like
there's no-
a,
the only
we're
way to know
actually-
what's there is to physically go up to the
we could provide something maybe on a monthly basis to Earl. and
Maybe
he
I
could
can
share it with the
Earl.
town. Yeah, and that would help. But we're also working right now, we're going to change all of our processes out. Our dream is that each town has its own little dashboard. So
That's
you
a
go
great idea.
Yeah,
on
that's-
like
yeah.
our website and you'd be able to go, oh, on Thorntown, you go in there and you'll see it, and then all your open requests will be there. This outage information will be like a part of it. It'll probably look like a speedometer or something like that. So we're working on that piece, which I think is going to be really helpful to you all. But we can certainly give you a monthly report if you want on outages. That way it kind of,
well, if it's easy,
Yeah.
nothing, because this, you could go back from, okay, they started now,
Yeah.
and we're in this much better shape for what we're spending, you know, it's a
Right.
way to justify what we're doing,
Okay.
if that makes sense to you.
yeah, well, another thing is the gut feel of the community. Are the outages better, right?
Yeah.
I don't know that. You guys would probably have the pulse of the town and would know if people are saying it's getting worse or it's getting better. So that's always a good sign too. So, I think having these metrics in your hand, you have
Right,
something
exactly.
to say back and say, well, this is why it looks like it's better on our end. So,
Storms aside, that's a totally different
Yeah.
deal, but just normal operation day to day.
Mhm.
Okay,
perfect.
I know, Earl, I talk too much, I'll stop.
You can always ask good questions.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they're good.
All right.
I guarantee if you're wondering, everyone else is too.
So the next page 5 and 6, those are the ones that are going to show those different outages. So this is this is where I get excited. Response durations on these, I like to see them around 30 minutes. It looks like we have more than a handful that were over 30. One was 59 in February. It looks like that was a Saturday. Sunday, we had one that was 87 minutes. But then when you get, we typically work Monday through Thursday. So if you kind of factor that in, you'll see that most times we're going to be pretty close to 30 minutes response time, just Monday through Thursday. Outside of that window, it'll get a little funnier. Now, it looks like in March, the 11th, we had one that was 182 minutes for us to respond. We got to call it 10:48, and we weren't able to get into town until 1:50. So I would suspect that we were probably in a town, maybe Rockville or Brooklyn, that has quite a bit of distance away from here, and so it took us a minute to get over here. That is one issue with our shared services, is that if we're off already in the day, we've already kind of started something, and then we peel somebody out of that crew, it takes a moment to do that. And it wouldn't surprise me in this case, that was 10:48. Yeah, like I said, looking at this, I can't tell where they were at, but it just tells me that they were probably already on another job. Now in May, there's the one for 151 minutes. That's on Friday. That's a 6:59, and we got here at 9:30. I imagine that was just getting somebody from home.
Yeah.
So it's probably we've got a guy that works out of this area he lives close to Brazil, Indiana, but that works really good for Brooklyn and Rockville, but it doesn't work very good for here. So if he's on that rotation of call, then that's probably why
Sure.
that happened. So since we're talking about those response durations, I want to share with you a way that we're adjusting our crew, because you're not the only town that's had this happen to them. So I've seen this as a repeat problem. It's something that I don't really like. And like I say, I try to keep them at 30 minutes or less. That's where I like to see them. That's sort of the sweet spot. We're adjusting our crews right now. We have two pretty good sized crews. We're creating a third build crew out of that group of two crews, but we're peeling a couple people off on each side of those crews to be more of a, I guess I'd call them an outline service person. So on service calls, they should be out and ready to do those. So they're going to be really concentrating on just service request kind of things that one or two people can work on instead of the bigger type projects.
Mhm.
But they'll be floating around the state, so they'll have a lot more flexibility to maybe even be already in town. They'll be more mobile. They'll know that that's part of their job, is the urgent problems are the ones that they're after to solve first. So that's going to be our way to try to help reduce that response time.
What's the availability of trained linemen right now in regards to hiring? Is it difficult to find them?
If
I'm making the assumption that,
Yeah.
I heard from the IBW and Indy that they're apprentice heavy and
They are.
journeyman light. So you have a lot of apprentices with
you're
a handful of journeymen.
you are
And that's
right.
the same, I'm assuming it's the same for linemen.
Yeah. So we are not a union organization, but we pay market. So we pay really close to what the IBEW pays. I got approval Wednesday, to hire 2 linemen. So I'll find out exactly how hard it is to hire them. But I did hire a lineman from NIPSCO last year. He didn't really he didn't like what they were doing at NIPSCO. They worked a lot of overtime, but it was like, regular start at 7 o'clock, just worked a lot of overtime for the year. But then NIPSCO said, hey, this overtime's getting insane. So they went to shift work, and anybody with a higher seniority got the days. Everybody else got evenings, and then everybody else with a lower seniority got nighttime. Well, he was a guy that had been here for 8 years, and he ended up getting nighttime.
Yeah.
And he's got 2 young kids. He's like, I just can't do that. I'll lose everything from them growing up for the next 5 years. So he left, and he has a few contacts that are interested in coming to work for us. We haven't vetted them, but and the other thing I'm not a big fan of is hiring. And don't take this the wrong way, people's friends, because sometimes they get in and they're all of a sudden, now you get to see their friendship, but then also they get too close together, and then you can't even let them work together. So we've seen that happen, and then we've also seen one friend get mad and leave, and then the other friend does the same thing just out of alliance to him, and it's like, wow, that's a pretty hard hole to fill. So, and I haven't. I have seen this practice since like 1985 when I got in this business. So I've sort of tried to keep things business with business. I want everybody to be friends and get along, but we already spend 2/3 of our life with each other doing this work anyway most of the time. So I try real hard not to. If they know of them, that's one thing. But if they're fishing buddies or hunting buddies, then that changes things, I think. But that's just me. So other people probably had different luck with that. But anyway, the page 2 shows the remaining outages that we've had. It looks like we had outages up into August, but it doesn't look like we had anything in September or October. So looks pretty good there. Now, one thing you'll see in the cause column on the far right, and this is something that helps us categorize things, is did we have control over it? Was it a wildlife problem? Was it an equipment problem? Or was it vegetation or weather? And when I say did we have control over it, so maybe our source company like Duke Energy or somebody else, maybe they were out of power.
You can't
And
control
that's
that.
maybe why we had that problem. So we just put somebody in the community, make sure that when the power comes back on, that nothing adverse happens, so that we can, be there and sort of help sort things out when the
What
lights
does the
do come on.
equipment cause? A failed equipment, like a blown fuse, is that, or damaged transformer?
That would probably be more of the equipment would be more of a transformer or maybe a connection,
Got it.
we call them bells, they're insulators at the pole. Maybe you had a problem there where something come out. A lot of times when we see, let me look if I can find one. Yeah, it looks like a lot of equipment, vegetation, weather. Couple wildlife. So in these service repairs and when it talks about type of outage, could be a situation where back in the day, they used to use what's called an Insulink. It's like a Chinese finger where they shove two wires into this apparatus.
Mhm.
As the wires try to pull out, there's friction in it. Those over time, it was probably a good idea back in the 50s when they built them, but over time they get moisture and water and stuff gets in there and freezes and thaws, and then you lose the connection.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen those popped up everywhere, yeah.
So when we see those, when we're out doing work like this, oftentimes we'll cut those completely out. And then we do what's called a squeeze on.
A compression lit hydraulic.
Yeah. You got a 6-ton press and a 12-ton press. And so it's pretty challenging for those to come apart. So
When you say public on a cause, does that mean like a car hitting a pole or something like that?
yeah. Or we had one where the guy was cutting a tree down. Probably should have been on YouTube or something, but he cut it down and it fell into our line.
Oh, God.
So trying to keep it from his house, which I appreciate that. But we've called those public as well if we have a known cause like that. If there is equipment damage or pole damage on things that are identified as public, we try to reach out to the town to find out if do they want a memorandum of costs that they can go back against the insurance company of the person that did the work or did the problem. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wondering about that.
and it's basically a listing of the service request number, the 4 or 5 people we might have had on that project, how long it took them, their equipment, and then whatever material. And then the end of it's just a sum of all that. The next page is general items. Basically a 765 number, that's our 24/7 number. Call in for an outage. Now, don't let your customers have that number to call us. That really needs to be somebody identified from the town
Okay.
to do that. Like
Earl.
Earl does it. Sandy was doing it sometimes. So
So there's
just,
a process it has to go through.
yeah, so we have.
This is not a public number for them, public to call.
Right,
They're not going to get a dispatch service. There's got to be someone competent on the other line making the phone call.
right. We spend a lot of effort trying to vet that if it's somebody that isn't on our list. Almost always we find out it's somebody that is pretty resourceful and they've figured out that we are the service corp to the town, but they're calling us to try to get the power back on and they're probably off for a non-payment is what is normally the case. So, but we get that call at like 1 or 2 in the morning. We're like, wow, that's an outage. And so we're looking through, her name's not on there. So we call the town and the town goes, oh, don't go out there. So, but then the town doesn't want to, there we call them 1 or 2 in the morning and they're like, well, don't really want to be bothered by that, but they needed to know because they didn't want us to come out and hook them up. So,
Okay.
for routine questions about service requests, and Earl's really good at getting service requests turned in. This 317 number, that's 450. Most of the time you'll get Derek or we hired a new gal, Ramona Hewen. She'll be manning that number now because Derek's moving more towards our engineering. But sometimes you'll find Clint or I with it because when we have a kind of a member-wide outage, we do all hands on deck and we take that phone in the field with us. So we're out there running in front of line crew and trying to see if we can, how quickly we can do things to get the, bulk of the power on sooner than later. It's helpful for them because they can keep doing the work because that's what they love to do anyway. So
Your job is to take the heat off.
yeah. So
Let them
we,
get the job done.
yeah, we look at it like kind of a buffet if you think about it. So all of the things that they would need to do the work is on this out in front of them. Material, trucks, fuel, all that stuff. And if we can help support all those things that are needing to get refueled or taken care of while they're up there doing what they can, because they're the ones qualified to, be on the poles or be operating the machinery. So
You can definitely do a donut run for them.
Oh, yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah, no.
But I know probably they're working long hours to
Yeah.
eat food.
Yeah. So, I always pay attention. That's a kind of another weird thing. Like I told you earlier, I've been doing this since 1985. I know what it's like to be out there. I'm not a lineman. I'm an engineer by trade, but I've seen enough of these moments that when things start to take longer than normal, I'm always paying attention. Is there something I could have done to help that, get done faster? Like you said, did he have to go to the potty while he was in the middle of that? You just don't know. So if I can bring him food or hot coffee or, some kind of something to keep him spirits up, and because most of the time, it's any kind of weather. It's rainy, it's snowy, it's nighttime, and now when it's dark, it gets dark.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So for 2025, for maintenance services, we're going to continue to maintenance and distribution system. Earl, is the tree trimming group still in town?
They are,
Okay.
probably be here for another 2+ weeks.
Okay. So I think that's a big plus. We finally got some folks in here to really kind of work on the lines in town to get the trees cleared out ahead of getting other kind of work done. I know there for a moment we had a couple bad spots in town that they were just a lot of, just treed up. So, but we're going to continue to solve that this year. One thing that we're doing moving next year in our budget that was just approved is instead of trying to do all of the trees at one time, which is what we did, I think 4 or 5 years ago, and wait until that cycle's over and then come back and hit it again. We've re-looked at that, added more money to the overall, because they had it set up for 5 years, but really they only had it funded for 4 once they started to realize that trees were growing faster than they thought they would. We had some new members come on. So now what we've done is we've allocated money each year for trees.
Like a maintenance program.
Yeah, just every year. And so we've got groups like Clean Slate and others, Mint City. Both those companies have been incredibly responsive, especially even when we have like outage problems. We're here at trees down. We'll call the town will go, oh yeah, it's a big one. And so, we'll call those guys in ahead of us, and sometimes they'll even get there sometimes maybe before us. And they're at least working on the tree, getting it cleared out so we can actually do some work. So, but Derek, he's moved from our business manager to this engineering mapping GIS person. So one of the things that we started to do in Thorntown, we don't have it completed yet, but we're creating a GIS for the town. So wherever we've worked, have that. And then one of the blessings that's happened in town is that communication companies have come in and said, hey, we're going to do this overlash or whatever. So they give us some GIS data as well. So we put that into our GIS sort of as a placeholder. It hasn't been validated from us so much, but at least it's a place to start with an existing GIS. Most of the time, it even has identifies who the comms are on the pole. So that's information, that we could put in our GIS system, which at some point in time, we'll be able to help share that with the town. So it might make sense for the town because the town has agreements with these organizations, and they should be billing on a yearly basis about how many pole contacts there are. So that information will help put some detail to it. Now we'll need to probably do an audit of the contacts, and when you do that, those contact companies and the town all share in the cost of the audit. So that's something that's kind of spread across all those entities. That way, each entity can get billed appropriately like it's supposed to be. So anyway, that's kind of what I've got. If you
I
guys
have one question,
Yeah.
maybe it doesn't actually pertain totally to this, but Earl was talking about that you're working with, like, I don't know who it is, who is the
All the other
communications?
like
what he's
Comcast.
referring to is that new idea of when we abandon a pole.
Oh,
still
yeah.
carries communication lines.
Yeah.
And getting those cleaned up.
Okay.
So I've been in contact with Clint, and he said we were gonna be the first community he actually worked with to try and make this happen.
Oh, nice.
So that's, I don't know what the question is, but that's
Well, I mean, how we go about that. I know it's,
simply contact Clint and say, hey, put us in.
and then,
He said
okay,
eventually it might evolve into the towns having the ability to contact. Clint said he was given a phone number
Right.
where you actually get to talk to somebody. Not some off in a
Right.
message center,
Right.
not a recording, not a computer. However, that's not being actually passed out yet.
Right. So what we're, addition to what these items, the engineering and GIS that Dirk's doing, he's also trying to be that center point of contact for our communications. So when they come into town or they say, hey, we need some attachments here, since he's the mapping guy, he'll have that information. So he's also getting some details of people who's engineering the thing and who the field constructors are. So we're gathering those kinds of contact information, which we haven't really had in the past. So
because we have various areas in town that are like the dead areas, right? Where there's just poles with crap hanging on them.
right, yeah. So
Just a way to, get the ball rolling to get those out of here. So
yeah, and if
You can drive recklessly through town. and hit
the
it.
comms, so long as the comms doesn't need to stay on that pole. So there could be occasions where they want to then take ownership of that pole. But again, you folks are the ones that probably get called and say, hey, why do I have 5 poles in my yard? I don't
well,
need all these
I'm
poles.
actually a prime example. Now I have 2 about this far apart,
Yeah,
and
yeah, and proximity like that, you should,
You should be
over
transferred
time, that should be pulled out and the other
yeah.
contact transferred, yeah.
A question was brought up along the same idea. Clint had told me the idea was they had 45 days to remove their lines. And after 45 days, if they did not, they were fined on a day-to-day basis. The question was brought up, if you know, who receives that fine?
Yeah, I don't know that I know that.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine.
So I think the version that I've kind of been working with is that within 45 days, if they don't, or whatever that number is, if they don't retire that pole, then the town, in the language of the contract, typically has the ability to have that pole removed and then send that invoice to that comms company, and then that comms company would have to pay it.
With the idea that their lines are transferred to whatever new pole is.
Yeah. And there could be,
Oh.
there could be fines in there.
That would be on us to make arrangements for all that transfer.
Well, there's part of that is why we're putting Derek in place to kind of help be that mediator, so that if you identify it, we could help chase those rabbits down for you and get that resolved. That way, I mean, you already have enough going on, right? And we have to manage the GIS anyway, so we want to know is there 2 poles there or is there 1 pole there?
Well, the reason I don't have much time here, but because I know that you were periodically replacing poles and try to, upgrade the system. It's just going to become more and more of a problem as we go down the road.
Right.
You'll say, okay, we're putting a new one in here and a new one in here, and right beside us, one got all kinds of crap hanging off of it. Eventually, if we don't address the problem, it's going to get ugly.
I will say right now, the comms companies, it's harder for them to maintain their current plant because they have some funding from grant money that's federal and state, and they're pushing really hard, almost all hands on deck to get that stuff built out. Because I don't know if it's the same breakdown, but I know that some grant funding that some of our communities have gotten is that if they pay, like, say it's $1 million project, they would only have to pay like $335,000 or so. The rest of it comes from the grant. So those comms companies are in a similar scenario where they get quite a bit of free chicken, so to speak, if they pay a little bit of money.
Mhm.
So they're, like I say, they're all hands on deck for that. But you are right, Pat. That's a great thing to.
It might become a big problem.
Well, we worked with Frontier in town, so we've got some pretty decent contacts there with those folks. Comcast, we have some better contacts than we used to have.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I have to leave.
Yes, sir.
So, very informative.
Does anyone have any questions for Mike? Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No, Earl, you didn't run me out. I'm leaving on my. You all have a great day.
Thank you, sir. You too.
Yeah, go IU, right?
Yeah, oh, heck yeah.
I
Are you
don't
kidding
know
me?
about that.
Really? Well, it might be not as good.
I mean, I hope they beat Ohio State, but
There you go. You all have a great day.
so where does the responsibility start with the homeowner when it comes to keeping stuff clear?
Go ahead. Ask away. You got the guys in there right here. Go ahead, Mike.
So where in the lines is it the homeowner's responsibility to keep the lines clear for vegetation?
Oh, no. Have you got a tree in your yard?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I do not.
Okay.
So the way we approach it is that if there's overhead primary, we call that the higher voltage line.
Okay.
We will trim where that higher voltage is. So if the line comes from that higher voltage to the house, once it leaves that higher voltage spot, goes into the yard, the homeowner is typically responsible for that.
Okay.
Now, even one of the things that we run into, and I'm not sure how we're doing it here, Earl, but when we clear like brush, I think those companies chip it, right? They take it with them and chip it. But I think the bigger limbs and stuff, do they leave it for the homeowner? Because that's really the homeowner's property.
I haven't run into them doing that yet.
Okay.
So I don't know if they've offered that up to anyone. And no one has asked us, hey, can we keep?
Yeah. Okay.
So what I heard Mike interpreting, here's your utility lines, and this is your high voltage, and there's your little transformer on the pole.
Exactly.
This piece right here is called your service lateral that attaches to your house.
Okay.
Bay, meaning IMPA, is responsible for all of this, trees in
To the
here.
transformer.
Bingo.
I'm responsible to that.
This service lateral right here,
Yeah.
if you get a tree up here and it damages line, what'll happen, this transformer also feeds multiple other homes. Your tree causes the problem, which takes this transformer out, which interrupts the power to all these other homeowners. That service lateral is yours to take care of. Is that correct, Mike?
Yeah. Now, there are occasions where we could leave that transformer with multiple poles. And they call those next span secondary wire. But then at the very end, you have that little tail that they end up being the service wire. So you would be responsible for all that secondary clearance too. Now, sometimes the bonus for the homeowner is that underneath that primary,
The
there's
secondary. Yeah.
secondary.
So what he's talking about is this line right here.
Yeah.
It's going there. Sometimes what the utility do is they'll put it right on the pole to get to the house that's over here or garage, and then from here come up to your pole and then the meter base is right there.
So
Okay.
That secondary is already on this pole line, which are already clearing for the primary, so
Okay.
you're covered. So it comes down from basics, is from the pole down, is kind of the general rule of thumb.
And I have another question too with this whole alliance with IMPA. They come out and do this stuff. Is it like a contract? Everything's bundled in. So if they're doing line maintenance or line replacement, is that in the contract itself, or is it individually billed for each thing that they do?
So,
That makes sense. What I'm trying to say.
yeah,
You said it's a bill at everything you do. What was that? I'm sorry.
No, you have, technically Thorntown has two contracts with IMPA and ISC. So IMPA, you have a contract for purchase power.
Okay.
And then you have a dedicated service contract, which is the Mike's division there that oversees all the maintenance and preventive work here in town.
So they basically broker with the powers that be to buy power from Duke or whoever the power producer are.
Okay.
That's one contract. That's basically what we consume, our town consumes.
Okay.
And then the other half is service and maintenance.
and so it's basically driven by really service and maintenance of existing facilities. So we do keep a running total of what we spend in the town, but that's not how it's billed. It's billed on flat rate per meter per year, and then it's
So like all the tree trimming that we're doing in town right now.
Yeah.
Is that part of the contract for the maintenance? Okay.
now in this case it is. We have some communities where they asked us to be dedicated. They asked to be a dedicated service member.
Yeah.
They had a local person that was friendly to the town, and he wanted to continue to do the tree trimming service. So we moved the tree money over into more maintenance and service money. So we have buckets of money in there. You know, some of it's trees, some of it's, you know, meters, some of it's, you know, all these different kind of elements. So we didn't take that meter cost down any, we just moved it to another
Sure.
element.
Okay.
Yeah, because what typically happens in most of our communities, because we base it on a fee per meter, is that in the first 5 to 8 years, we overspend in the community. Because most of the time the communities haven't had a lot of love and a lot of care. It's just been kind of,
Kept running.
yeah, just, it's
Band-Aids.
well, in the people's defense who did it before, it's kind of what they knew that they could do safely.
Yeah.
So good news is nobody got hurt. End of the day, people did what they could do to keep it going. But back to sharing that, you know, we bring in for daylight work, blue sky work, we bring in a whole crew to come do the work. Whereas during daylight work or blue sky work for the previous people that were doing the work, there might have only been 1 or 2 people. And you can't really set a pole with one person. You can't change a pole out. It's too difficult. You're going to have to get other people. So where do those resources come from? Maybe they came from the water plant. Maybe they came from the sewer folks. Maybe they all kind of helped together and got that done. But nobody was really trained in how to do it. And so
It's kind of like the Spartan concept,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
What do you do? I'm a parlor. What do you do? "Oh, I'm a blacksmith. What do you do, man? We're soldiers." I mean, that's
Yeah.
basically it.
so
We're
not,
linemen.
I'm not saying that was terrible back in the day, because people like I do a pretty decent job of taking care of my car. I'm a gearhead, but there are things that I just can't do on the car.
100%. Yeah.
So that's kind of how I look at it. It's
That's a great comparison. Thank you. Sorry. Do you have any other questions?
No, I really don't.
okay. And just to share out loud, we're going through another presentation here in a few weeks with another dedicated service, a potential dedicated service community. And I know when we did the presentation to Max, one of the things I think that he felt was compelling to our proposition is that generally how our fees work on a per meter basis, it boils down to, you're really, for the same money you could hire one lineman to come in and do the work is in essence about what we charge for the town. So it kind of works out about that way. It's just the weirdest scenario. We've got 15 members. I have like 13 linemen. So it's kind of, I mean, it's just sort of the math does that. Yeah, my linemen will probably tell you they're overworked and they're short. They need more
Well,
help.
we all know that though.
Yeah.
That's why you're in Prentice
And,
City right
and
now.
I do have, some folks that I'm really proud of how they work. It's like that. It's kind of like anywhere that you work. You got the people that are just incredibly super dependable and they're just always on time. They're always, on point. And then you always seem to have somebody that you got to kind of encourage a little more. And it's just kind of how it goes. So, and that's a key that we try to do when we bring people in to interview. And I've learned that it's a mistake if you don't bring them in and get other people's points of view on them. So again, I've done this for a minute, and so you learn those things, and once you learn them, you try not to recreate that problem again. So, because there's enough problems already, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
Earl, do you have anything to say, sir? He has to get to work. All right. Thank you.
Guys,
Yeah, go ahead. Fire away.
I just want to say from a general IMPA perspective, I just want to follow up and see if there's anything else you need. Obviously, dedicated services is Mike's gambit through ISC, but just as far as being general IMPA members, it's always good to check in and see if there's anything you guys need or how things are going.
I do need something.
What's that, Earl?
I listened to my two front girls, my two receptionists, cry all the time that we got IPA sweatshirts and they didn't. Any chance you can get them two sweatshirts?
Which ones?
The gray ones that zip up with the hood?
Oh, the hoodies?
Yeah.
Oh, we probably make that work.
Yeah.
I'll make you a deal. I'll make you a deal. Are you gonna be at the board meeting next Friday?
Don't make that kind of deal with me.
There ain't nothing that's such as a free lunch or a free sweatshirt, Earl.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, so,
we'll see if he can get them. We'll get them brought to you.
Okay, thanks, appreciate it.
yeah. Are you gonna be there next week?
No.
No. What do you got going on?
I don't know.
You better start coming, so we got a debrief on what happened this year and what's to be next year.
Okay.
So, all right. And I don't have sweatshirts today, but I have some other items in the car that I'm gonna drop off next door to everybody. So you guys make sure to share those and hand them out. So, and you too, even though you're not official yet, if you're here, you better get you something.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, thanks, guys. Again, I know this is for Mike's show, but you're still IMP members, and so I want to touch base and see if there's anything you guys need. Anything at all else?
No.
Okay. You're all good?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you.
I do have one.
Oh,
Sorry. So as our community grows, I know larger companies are going to start to move in at some point in time. And most of the specs I see anymore require an arc flash assessment to be performed on their distribution, the building side.
Right.
But of course, you can't do that unless you get the fault current availability from the utility side. Is Thorntown mapped out in ETAP or SCAM or anything like that yet? Or is that one of those things that you'll have to sit down and do it?
It's not
The best-
completely. So
okay.
what we do a lot of times is we'll do it on the, we do it on the primary side
Mhm.
and we let them, the engineer do it on
Yeah, so I do that on the secondary side, but you've got the primary side information as well. Just curious.
We have a lot of source information from different locations. Now, like the question you're asking right now is I need to make sure that we have Thorntown's current source information because they've upgraded the line. from-
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it definitely went up. I mean, if we had more load, right?
Yeah, it changed, well, the wire's different, so it changed the resistance from the station into the metering point. We call it the imaginary, it's kind of like the magic number.
Thank you. Sorry.
That's all right.
All right.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, you got to go to work. All right.
What do you do now?